time to dish with D. That's me. Thank you for clicking on this video and making yourself a priority. I am Denise. It is Wednesday. It is a lot of people's favorite day. I'm super happy about that. Wednesday wisdom for weight loss. I love that. I love that this has been quite the day to do this, and you guys have embraced it and loved it. And I love that we make it about you. It's not about me. It's not about what I have to say, though it is. I am answering the questions. But always remember, these are my opinions. You don't have to agree with me. Some people just want to know, like, what do you think, D? So this is a twofold Wednesday wisdom. We have some questions, and it is February 22nd. What does that mean, D? It is the kickoff of our Spring into Spring Challenge to Change. Woohoo! We made it. If you're looking forward to this, because I know a lot of us are struggling. It's not, and honestly, it's not uncommon to struggle. I think when the people who don't struggle, they're the weird ones. I think a little bit. I think because it's food. I say all the time, it's food. It's good food, you know? It's hard to say no to some things. I hear you. I do. But we are Spring into Spring Challenge to Change. If you need any of these printables, you could go on my Facebook page, Dish with D's Crew, and up in the files, everything is always there. And if you don't have Facebook, email me, say, hey, D, I want the Challenge to Change one. I want the, we'll talk about this one in a minute. So this one, you can, it's just so pretty. I got it, did it with flowers for spring. Challenge to Change, February 22nd to April 9th. It is through Lent. I just do a Lent because I think it's 6 weeks. Nothing to do with Lent at all. And what I have 4 things, 4 of the main focuses of Weight Watchers. Eat more vegetables, move 15 minutes every day. That's not a lot, honestly. And you don't have to exercise. It's not like you have to do push-ups or pull-ups or jog. Walking in place, cleaning, honestly, is an exercise. Drink 10 ounces of water with every meal. That's only 3 times a day. And track every meal. Some of us aren't the best trackers. I totally understand that. I was never the best tracker. And honestly, lately, my tracking has sucked. I'm not gonna lie, my tracking has sucked. I've gotten through breakfast and then I stop. And that's not every day, but for the most part, I mean, my tracking has sucked. So you could pick one, you could pick how many ever you want. But remember, make it doable. If you pick all 4 because you know you have to work on all 4, you might not. I say pick one, master that, then move to the second one. Because, make life a little bit easier. We're trying to build habits. Habits take time. Brings me to this one. This is the Healthy Habit Tracker. Again, this is totally, I have it. It's set up in morning routines, afternoon habits, and night habits. Routines, habits, whatever to call them. It's blank, which means you get to fill in what you want to work on. Do you have to work on all these lines? You don't. You could pick one. You could pick one from each. You could just pick one, and that's it. And remember, the simpler you keep it, the more you're going to do it. You can't sit there and master everything. You can't. I'm going to sit here and tell you that. Maybe a lot of people don't say that. Like, oh, you need to try all that. No, you don't. Because here's the thing. It's overwhelming. And when it's overwhelming, we don't do shit. We don't. It's just, we don't. So you could pick, you could sit there and say, drink a glass of water right out of bed, stretch, whatever you want to do. You do it. You doesn't have to be what I want you to do it. You do you, boo. And then you could check off, it's Monday through Sunday. You could check off when you've done it. And then maybe if you fill up a column for the whole week, you treat yourself to something special, like a new pair of earrings or a fun little top or a manicure, wherever your heart desires. It's your journey. It's your treat. What do you like? Maybe even an ice cream. Remember, food is not the enemy. Or buy yourself a fun new food find. Food is not the enemy. We can't even reward yourself with food. Why not? You work hard. You should be able to fit in an ice cream during the week. I'm not saying every night. I'm not. We should not be having dessert every night. But a few nights a week, absolutely. You can fit in a small little scoop of ice cream. If you look on all the light ice creams like the Nix and the Enlightened and the Halo, or even the regular ones, the serving is probably a half cup. The problem is we never stopped at a half cup. Light bulb. You can do a quarter cup. Put on those, if you go to the store, they have those little itty bitty cones you can get. They're so cute. Or put it in a bowl. You can do it. What do I say? Controlled discipline. The more you fit in things like that, the less you'll want them. Should touch on that later, but let's get to your questions because this is all about you. All right, these are from the post from you also can post down here in this video. So these are from last week's video. Budget friendly meals for the family. Okay, now my idea of budget friendly meals usually means casseroles. I think they're your budget is friendliest meals because they're easy, they're one pan, and usually it's always 9 times out of 10 there's a starch in there, like a pasta, a potato, a rice, a vegetable, and a protein. That's what usually makes 9 out of 10 budget friendly meals. Could I give you some? I don't do dinners too much here on the channel. I'm more of a snack kind of dessert kind of channel, it seems to be, because that's where a lot of my need is for myself. So I guess I focus too much on what I need, don't I? I will list a couple resources below. Like I know Emily Bites has great stuff. Pound Dropper has great stuff. So Drizzle Me Skinny, they're absolutely, or here's the thing. I'm going to give you a really big tip. Go on your Weight Watchers app, and when you go up the search bar, search casseroles, because we know everything in the WW app is friendly, and it'll bring up all the casserole recipes. You know, one pan, sheet pans are great. Again, you put everything on a sheet pan. You have your potatoes, your vegetables, and your meat, and that could be chicken, it could be steak, it could be fish, it could be sausage. Chicken sausage doesn't have to be pork. So they put everything on a plan. There's their vegetables and their potatoes. 9 times out of 10 sheet pans have potatoes. Just quarter a little thing of potatoes. Potatoes are filling and they go a long way. Remember, in order to feed your family, we have to figure out what is it that fills them, especially if you have boys. Yes. For me, it's pasta and potatoes and rice, because that's what fills them. And the thing of it is, if I make a casserole, any of the bubble bakes are fantastic. You have to look that up, bubble bakes. And I think it's Skinny Taste, and Drizzle Me Skinny, she has a lot of bubble bakes. And they're using the small little tube of biscuits. You cut them in quarters and you sprinkle them at the bottom of the pan. So what I do is I buy an extra can of small biscuits, and on their half, like I would say 3/4 of the tray, I double up on the biscuits. I don't need to double up on the biscuits, but they do. Now, unless you're trying to lighten up them stuff for them, that's a different story. So I would always put the bulk of the biscuits on their side, and I would put extra cheese. So it would bulk up their portion, because let's face it, anything we make that's from these apps and Weight Watchers is going to be lower in calories and points. So do they need to eat lower in calories and points? If they don't, then I would say bulk that side up. And if they do, well, then don't say anything. And sometimes what I also do is I need to bulk up a meal. Like if I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't have enough Timmy's here. I always add a loaf of bread. You know, I add either whether Italian bread, you could go out and buy a cheap baguette. You can make your own bread. I made bread in a cast iron Dutch oven. There was no kneading to it. You just kind of put it together, let it rise, and throw it in there, and it bakes easily. It's extremely easy. I know what else is really easy? Beer bread. Yep, beer bread. You need a can of beer, flour, and I think it's sugar. There's no yeast in there because the beer takes care of it. So I was on a roll of making beer bread because Timmy was around and big eaters. So and this beer bread would last me for 2 meals because it made a big 9x13 pan of beer bread. So simple. And like I said, that's my idea. I mean, and I think bread is pretty much inexpensive because it's flour. So you can get a big bag of flour and beer. You can get a cheap beer. It doesn't have to be expensive. You can get a cheap can of beer, and it works really good. So I hope that answered your question. Emotional eating. I am emotional eating. She's having problems with her son. Yes, our kids make us our hearts, and when they're having issues and suffering, it really tugs at those heartstrings. And I think we turn to food as a comfort, but the problem with that is, while the first few minutes are comforting, the next few hours we're feeling bad for what we did. It's hard. I don't emotional eat, but I know people that do. And what I would suggest, if you're turning to food, try turning to something else. I emotionally organize. When I'm having stress, It's weird because everybody knows when I'm sitting there organizing that there's something wrong. Oh no, mom's upset she's organizing. So find it. I'm sure there's a drawer that needs straightening up somewhere in your house. So I say go to take that energy and turn it into something positive. Organization's one thing. Maybe go out and take a walk. Like sometimes walking like at a fast pace for a few minutes kind of burns it out a little bit. I mean, it's hard. I know. It's hard to not turn to food. And I would suggest certain things you're turning to, like, or if you're going to eat, maybe eat grapes. Yes, they're sugar, but I think it's better than a worse option. Maybe turn to veggies and dip. If you're going to eat veggies and dip. Like, have a really good dip that you like. And then maybe like spinach dip. Make a homemade spinach dip that has yogurt and spinach. There's nothing in there that you really have to count, and just imagine eating all that spinach you probably keep in the bathroom for the rest of the time. Could be a good twofold thing. Don't have things in the house that you're going to turn to that are not good choices. You can't eat them if they're not there. I tend to, if there's bad things in the house, I just don't know where they're at. And I've gotten better for seeking and finding. We've all done that. We've all, hunted around for what we wanted. I mean, it's here. So we know those lint balls are here somewhere. Those Lindor truffles. Oh yeah, I've had to seek those out. I haven't lately. But yeah, I would definitely say either A, switch up what you're eating on, or B, just do something different, like organizing, or taking a walk. Or, what's another fun thing? Watching a Netflix show. Let me tell you something. I can zone out on a Netflix show that's really interesting, and I just get involved in the show, and it kind of takes me away from life for a few hours. Do that. I mean, get involved in a series. There's a lot of interesting mystery series on there. And get involved. Or, Slim made it. Facebook games. Oh my gosh, Farmville. I farmed a lot. My leader laughed one day when she said something, and I said, I farm. And she looked at me and I said, I farm. I take crops in it. And then she realized I was talking about a game. But oh my gosh, they are such time suckers. That and TikTok. Go on TikTok. It's a black hole. You will spend hours on TikTok looking at food and recipes. There's so many like light recipes on there as well. And people, what they do, and they change up things. I would say that if you don't want to do like the light food, try TikTok. Like Instagram Reels is the same thing. Facebook Shorts is the same thing. They have these little quick videos. So go on there, and I'm telling you, you'll watch a few and you'll just be sucked in. And all of a sudden, it'll be like an hour's going by, and maybe you'll forget about eating. Eating is never going to solve the problem. Like I always tell people, if eating solved the problem, heck, yeah, I tell you to eat. But it's not going to solve the problem. And you're still going to have the problem, and then you're going to feel guilty about what you ate. So always remember, eating is not going to solve my problems. It's not going to help my son. So why am I doing it? So do things that help you, is my advice. So on to the questions from the Facebook group. And I should have my glasses on because I'll be able to read these. What is a good way to use chocolate protein powder? I'm bored with my chocolate smoothie. Even though it's good, help me. Well, what do you think I'm going to say? Yogurt bowls. Oh my God, I love chocolate protein and yogurt. It's so good. I'm trying to, and I haven't had a chance to do any of it yet, but I would say experiment with putting it into like pancakes, waffles. Try making a cookie with it. Go to the brand that you have and go to their website and see if they offer any recipes. I know Devotion has recipes. I know Clean Simple Eats Protein has recipes on their website. I even think Quest does. So I would say go to whatever brand you have and Google in their website looking for recipes, or just hit Google and say recipes for chocolate protein powder. I guarantee you some will come up. So yeah, maybe adding them to something. So that would be fun. But I would suggest, the yogurt. Of course I'm going to say that because that's like the first thing that comes to my mind. That's what I do with it. You can make it more like smoothies if you do you ever put a banana in it? So it gives it a little different flavor. Sometimes doing that might help. But I would say pancakes, and waffles are my standard. Or maybe even, which I don't think I've done. I've not done with the powder, but you probably could. Maybe oatmeal. I've never tried that with the powder, so I think that might be something to try. I mean, you definitely would have to add extra liquid for the protein powder itself, but I think I would try that. So hope that helped. You mentioned in a vlog once that the old Denise would have had wine, and you brought your tea during the holiday. Yes, it was at a holiday party. When you go to wineries, what's your advice and plan? I love the wine and sometimes open a floodgates. It's hard. Like when I go to certain wineries, they have sangria. I'm a sucker for sangria. It's so good. What I try to do is, if we were allowed, well, even if we're not allowed, we kind of sneak it in anyway. I try to bring bottles of water. So if I'm drinking water and having wine, I'm hoping that I won't drink as much wine. Definitely, I save points when we're going to a winery, because you have to indulge. You're going to sit there and just drink your water? No, you want to have at least a glass. And try to have that glass last. I know that's hard. Or maybe fit in two. I mean, if you're there long enough, you might have to fit in two glasses. But the last time I did, I think we had a bottle, and I think I maybe had a glass and a half. It's talking and getting involved in conversation, so you're not really drinking as much. I like to put ice in my wine. I know Steve hates when I do that, but I like it cold, so it kind of mellows the wine down a little bit, makes it last a little bit longer. And if you can bring a beverage in there, I would say bring a tea, bring a water. If you have to buy one, I would definitely say buy them, because sometimes we drink the wine because if you're out and it's a little bit warm, or you're munching on a few munchies, you're thirsty. So if all you have is the wine, you're obviously going to keep drinking it. So I would say add another beverage if you can. I know. But I've had to cut back on the sangria. You demonstrated 2-ingredient bagel buns in a way that made them look easy and delicious. But what is the reason for making them when bread can be store-bought and points few? Bagel buns are more satiating than bread. They keep you fuller because of the yogurt. Even making pizza, people say, why are you making pizza dough with yogurt when if you made it with just flour and yeast, it would be less dense, less calories. You do it because you want the fullerness and you want the protein benefits of 2-ingredient dough. That's the reason. And even though my bagel bun is smaller than one that I would buy out, it keeps me fuller longer than the ones I'd buy out, if that makes sense. I enjoy them. I love the way they taste. And I have a different 2-ingredient dough recipe. I add a little less yogurt. I add an egg and a little teaspoon of instant yeast. I do that because I like the flavor that yeast gives to bread. And I don't feel I get that with just the yogurt. But I feel like the yeast just gives it a little something, something. And I don't fool around with it like you see me make it. I just cut it in quadrants and I slap it on a tray. I don't need to sit there and roll it into pretty bagels. You can if you want, but there's where frustration sometimes comes in when we overplay with this dough and then it's just everywhere and you get, oh, this is everywhere. I'm not doing this. It's easier to go out and buy them. True story, it is. But so I just keep it minimal effort so it's not daunting, and they're buns and there's no hole in the middle, nothing falls through, and I really love the way they taste, and I love the texture. I love, like I said, and they do keep me fuller than a bagel that I would for that amount of points. If I had to buy a bagel thin to come out to the same points of those, it first of all tastes like cardboard because it's thin. So I like the thick breadiness of those. So there's the trade-off. Like, oh yeah, I could buy a Thomas's thin for the same points as my bagel bun, but it's not nearly half as good. So again, I am not sacrificing taste for convenience. Now, if you don't feel like making them, that's why I keep it simple. The way I make it is very, like I said, you just mix it till it comes together. And half the time I'm using a spatula. I do get my hand in there if I have to get rid of a little bit of flour that won't get mixed in. And I just make a little, disc and even in the bowl and I cut it. I don't weigh it. I don't sit there and make them as even as I can, because here's the thing. If you complicate it and make it more than it needs, you're not going to do it. But yeah, I may have one bun that's a little bit bigger. I have one that's a little bit smaller. It all washes in the wash. So the one day I have more, the next day I'll have less. I can't get crazy over, oh my God, they're not even. They're even enough. I have to eyeball stuff. And with that, it just works out. And I love being able to flavor them the way I want. Putting like everything bagel, putting rosemary is my favorite. And I've made one. It's a riff on the Panera Bread's Cinnamon Crunch Bagel. I got some oats and I toasted it in a fry pan with a little bit of cinnamon. I think I might have put vanilla in there. There's a video for it. I thought I remember to link it. It came out better than I expected. And I made, this mixture, and I got a little bit crunchy, and I put part of it in the dough. So it was inside. And then the rest, when I made the buns, I dipped them in egg wash and I rolled them in the remainder of the coating. So they had it on the outside. I have to make them again. They were fantastic. Oh my gosh, they're so good. I think I call them cinnamon crunch bagels. Sometimes I just, I go off the deep end on what I'm thinking. And the pumpkin ones, you could have pumpkin. Now, when you have pumpkin, you need to pull back on something because pumpkin is wet. So I probably pull back on yogurt. I probably put a little bit of pumpkin. But let's face it, most of the spice comes from the flavor comes from the pumpkin pie spice. So you actually could make it regular and just add pumpkin pie spice. Don't even worry about adding pumpkin. I think I may do that. I think sometimes when we add the pumpkin, it complicates it. But yeah, it's good. It's satiating, and it feels decadent. That in a nutshell, it feels so much more decadent than a Thomas's Thin. I just don't enjoy the Thomas's Thins. And if I'm not enjoying it, why am I eating it? You want to enjoy and eat when you're eating, you want to go, oh, this is like, you just want to do it. And I hear, they did reach out to me. There is a company that you can buy 2-ingredient dough. I think it's frozen and they send it to you. They were supposed to, ship me out some. I haven't seen it yet. But I'd be interested to see how the price of that is and how well it works. And if there's anything else added to it. Because let's face it, we only need flour, baking powder, salt, and yogurt. And with me, a little, egg and a little bit of yeast. It's good. So I hope that answered your question. I'm often cold at night and want a warm snack. Any ideas? Dessert tea. Dessert tea is probably my favorite thing to snack on. If you go to Tazo, has a really great selection of teas. They have vanilla bean macaron. I'm not a huge fan of the lemon loaf because I don't like warm lemon. That's just me though. And they have a butterscotch blondie that is very hard to find. That is so good. Davidson's organic teas. I have 20% off on their website. I will link them below. They have fantastic dessert teas. The vanilla bean. They have a green tea garden that has this Viennese organic cinnamon in it. That's so delicious. Vanilla cream spice. Another my favorite. Chai. Oh, a good chai. Oh, I have a chocolate chai. I have a regular chai. I have an Indian chai. Pumpkin chai. I love chai. So I would say tea will warm you because it's a liquid versus eating any other kind of food. I don't think I have anything warm. All my things are normally room temperature. I don't think I have anything warm off the top of my head, but those are the things I gravitate towards. They're 0 points. They're teas, and they taste pretty decadent for a tea. You're like, it's pretty good. Carrot cake. I have a carrot cake one I got at an Amish bulk store. It tastes like carrot cake. Legit tastes like carrot cake. So yeah, I love that one. Anything else warm? I don't usually have warm snacks. Most of my snacks are cold. So that's what I would suggest. Plus it's 0 points. You can't beat that with a stick. I was wondering if I think of anything else, I'll pipe it in. I was wondering, how does your family feel about your weight loss success and your YouTube channel? Do they know how much you help all of us? That's sweet. Part of it, I will tell you, because I rag on them. Like if I said you shouldn't, they get mad because now I'm like, I don't want to say the food police, but I'm the health police. Like, you really think you need that second cookie, Tim? Timmy's a big dessert eater. His problem is cookies and dessert. But Mom, I'm like, you could have one, but why are you having two? Well, I couldn't help myself. So I am the kind of the food police with people, and they kind of don't like that. I'm like their conscience. The YouTube channel, they want no parts of. They are very You won't, very rare, I can't imagine you'd ever see them. And that's fine. I didn't make them to make this channel to have to showcase my family. It's not about, it's Dish with D. It's not Dish with D and family. So they don't have to be here. I don't feel insulted that they don't, because it's not about that. You know, they're not big people that would be, hey, what's up, people? They're not. So for them to do that would be very uncharacteristic of them. I do show them emails and messages, and I say sometimes, like, you wonder why I do what I do, and I show them. They're like, well, that's really nice, Mom. And I'll say, Mom, I'll tell them, Timmy, people are praying for you. He goes, really? They don't know me. I said, no, they don't. But they know me, and they know you through me, and they feel that they, you know, and he just is touched by that. I think he's like stunned. But I show them all the messages, because sometimes they'll see me, I'll gasp, because you guys write such nice things. And it takes me, like, I don't do this for that. And then when you send this, and I'm like overwhelmed. And it's very emotional to have a connection with people that you've never met, but you have a connection over, you know, this is a personal journey. This is a thing that's very close to people's hearts. And it's very, that's why I say, but with food, you have to be careful how you tread. I try not to be very, like, negative, matter of fact, mean, because I know the sensitivity of having weight to lose. I know how it tugs at our heartstrings and how it is, like, it's sensitive. So I can't, like, people who talk about that, what is that word I'm looking for? Tough love. I can't do that, because I know how that feels inside. And I know that that's not what you need or want to hear. You want to be coddled. You want to be hugged. So that is what I do, because nothing ever comes from negativity but negativity. Positivity broods positivity. So you want somebody to be positive and want to do something, you have to give them encouragement and positivity. You can't give them, just do it, get out there and stop eating. Stop making excuses. I can't, because I was that person. I still am that person. I still know how that feels. And I would never outwardly want to insult anybody, because I know. And for me to do that would just be uncharacteristic of me, because I wouldn't treat myself that way. I certainly wouldn't treat you that way. They're shocked. Like they're always ones that'll show me pictures. Like Timmy was the one that sent me the picture with the pink shirt. They go, Mom, look at this. Like when they look back at pictures, they can't believe that was, like, they didn't see me like that. Like, to, you know, like, I don't remember you being that big. Like, but you see pictures and pictures don't lie. And it's like, but when you see, you know, me now versus those pictures, obviously there's a change. There's one picture, I don't know if I could insert it at the end, of Timmy graduating high school, then Timmy graduating from Seton Hall University 4 years later. And the difference in me was astounding. And that was just 4 years. And it's like, and it's interesting because it's me and Timmy, and it's almost the same pose. And it's like, wow. And I even forget until I look back and say, that was me. And I didn't feel like I looked that big, and I didn't feel like I was that big, but apparently I was. And we don't feel it because we've grown, gotten that way over time. It's not something that happened overnight. We didn't wake up 150 pounds heavier, just, you know, so it's like, to us, it just didn't feel that way. I felt like I had energy, but you don't know how good you can feel until you feel good, and then you know what good feels like. I always think, oh, I feel good. I thought I felt good, and then when I saw what good felt like, I knew how bad I actually felt. But this journey is 85% up here. It is a mental focus thing, and I'm telling you, if you're not focused here, this will never work. You have to be, like, when people say, I'm just not into it, my head's not in it. If your head's not in it, you will not do it. You won't. You have to get that mental focus, that mental clarity. And I'm hoping this challenge helps people, get you going. And sometimes you just need to get the ball started. And once you start seeing it, then you want to speed up. And that's what the goal is of this challenge. Okay. If you don't have an air fryer, how long do you bake chocolate chip cookies in the oven? Oh, the cookie that I made, I would say 375. I would try 10 minutes and check it. Like, you have to, no matter what you do, air fryer or oven, you need to be there for that cookie, because it's one of those things that's going to turn in a half second. So I would say, probably based on the size, I would say at least 10 minutes. I bought PB2 with cocoa by mistake and not sure what to do with it. Any ideas? Fun fact, Steve likes chocolate PB2 in his coffee. So if you're a coffee drinker, he saw it somewhere, and I happen to have some chocolate peanut butter powder, and he loves it. I don't drink coffee. I have no idea. He loves putting it in his coffee. You could make it into peanut butter, so it's chocolate peanut butter. You could add it into a smoothie, make a banana, some milk, and that'd be a chocolate peanut butter smoothie. You can make it into a dip for apples. Be really good. Or strawberries. Oh my god, that'd be really good. Or like you could do the thing where you get the apple, you peel it, slice it, and then toss a scoop, only like 1 tablespoon, not 2, and like put the apples in a baggie and then put a scoop of that and then shake it, and then since the apples are moist, the powder coats them. It's fantastic. And I think chocolate would really work with that, chocolate covered apples. I mean, come on. So you could put in pancake mix, waffle mix, anything where peanut butter would be appropriate. You can make it into an ice cream topping or dip. Make the cookies and make a chocolate peanut butter dip. Make it thicker. Don't add as much liquid so it's more thicker, like icing something with it. Make a mug cake. Make a little peanut butter chocolate icing. Just add less liquid so it's thicker and just spread it. Piece of toast. Be really good. Drizzle it on everything. Eat it with a spoon. I mean, the things are endless what you can do with it. Whatever you can do with peanut butter, you can do with it. It's just chocolate. So it's just adding a little bit of chocolate. But yeah, I love making a fruit tip out of it. You can put it in, mix it with yogurt. Yeah. So I hope I gave you a few ideas. It's one of my favorite things in the world. So that is it. Oh, we did made a half an hour. So that is it for your questions for this week. I thank you again for all you who submitted questions. Like I said, if you have one, you don't do Facebook, you could submit it down below in this video and I will get to it next week. I thank you for all your input and thank you for watching and thank you for loving this Wednesday Wisdom. I love doing it. It's so much better when I'm focusing on what you want to hear, and it definitely works. So I love it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet hit that subscribe button and enjoyed this video, join us here at Dish with D. We are slaying our poundages one at a time. You can join the Spring in the Spring Challenge to Change. Like I said, if you can't get these printables or the Facebook group, you don't have Facebook, email me at dishwithdee@yahoo.com and I will make sure they get to you, because you can just print them out and you got them. Sometimes it's little things like this that keep us focused. We're staring at this paper. That's right, I'm in challenge. I need to keep focused. Keep it simple. Simple is doable. Doable creates success. Success creates great things. So we want to make you successful. You can't do all 4 of these and be, honestly, you're setting yourself up for failure. I may be one of the few people that tell you that because you got to keep it simple. We want to see success, and success you will see, be confident. And when confidence comes in, there's no stopping you. So that is it for me. Like I said, I will see you tomorrow I'm vlogging today for tomorrow. So you will see me tomorrow and you'll see me in the shirt tomorrow. I'm vlogging. We might go out today. We'll see. It's kind of boring. I'm not eating because it's Ash Wednesday. I had breakfast. I had 1 slice of 647 toast. So maybe I should just go out and get my mind off food. When we can't eat, we want to eat. Why is that? Ugh. So that is it for me. I will dish with you tomorrow. Bye-bye, my lovelies.